What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about something that's a little bit controversial as of late, since the survey came out last week or the week before, about everything that we'd probably like to be seeing in a Classic Plus environment. So this one is gonna probably upset some people, but I'm assuming some people might actually be on my side with this. But I want to talk about it and kind of open up a discussion for everyone in the comments. So without further ado, let's dive in. All right, guys, so we're running around here now and we're going to do a little walk and talk action. What I want to talk to you guys about today is a couple of things that I saw on the survey that went out, that was leaked, about things that we would like to see in Classic Plus. Now, I want to preface this by saying I am all down with all the new stuff that they want to add content-wise. Yeah, add some classes, rework professions, all of this stuff. I'm not in the hashtag no changes crowd. We have Classic WoW, we have Classic Era, we've done Anniversary now again, we're going to be doing TBC again. I think Classic Plus is an environment where we need new things added to the game, right? To make it fun, to draw a new crowd of players in, because as it stands right now, Classic WoW is not growing by any means, and that is an issue, because if it's not growing, they may not be able to develop what we want for Classic in the future. So I think it's very important for you guys to understand my stance on this. I'm like a green light on like 90% of the stuff that was on that survey, which some of you guys might not be, but for me, definitely green lighting like 90% of the stuff on that survey. However, there was a couple of things on there that I feel would be game-breaking to me if they added to Classic Plus, and if they added these things, it would feel like they don't really know what Classic Plus was supposed to be. And the first one that I want to talk to you guys about is cross-realm guilds and grouping and stuff like that. I think that adding this to Classic Plus would be the worst thing possible. And let me explain why. Because we already have these new versions of Classic that we're playing with the layering system, which is great because it gets rid of queues and it allows us to have these massive mega servers with tons of people. No one gets stuck on a dead server in the end, right? The issue with it is that it definitely does make the world feel less personable. You know, you don't build connections with these people anymore that are playing the game out in the world that you find. I mean, you do, and you could run into them and you can put them on your friends list or whatever, but it's not the same as it was back in the day where you had, servers with 2,000 to 4,000 people on them, or 5,000. I forget what the cap was. And it was way more personable. And it was a more personalized experience. Each server had its own soul or its own like vibe, its own heart. I still believe this is a thing today. It's just, it's had to change. And I do believe that the layering system does need to be in the game, because without it, we would either have massive queue times on these servers, or we would have, people stuck on dead servers. And you got to remember that back in 2004, 2005, the like streamer culture and like everyone wanting to be on the streamer mega server, it really wasn't a thing back then, like as it is now. So it's kind of hard to not have the layering system. So I understand why we have it in this version of the game. But if we take it a step further and we're doing cross-server guilds, cross-server grouping for dungeons and raids, I think now we're getting into retail territory where, like, what's the point of a server and what's the point of making a decision on where you play? I think this would literally break the game to a point where I don't know if I would even play if they added something like this, because it also shows me that moving in that direction, this goes completely against everything that Classic stands for, right? There's a good middle ground, and I think that good middle ground is having like these mega servers with layers. And it works, sometimes it sucks if you're running up to someone out in the world and you just get phased out of that layer, you get layered onto another layer and they just disappear. It feels bad. Now imagine if people in your dungeon groups were on different servers and your people in your guild were on different servers and you couldn't see them out in the world unless you were grouped with them. It just really makes the world feel a lot less alive, in my opinion. I think it's a bad thing for Classic. I think we're really getting into retail territory there. And the other thing that I want to talk about here is war mode, right? This has been a topic of some serious controversy lately where there's like some people that think War Mode belongs in Classic Plus and some people who don't. Now, I want you guys to understand that whether you agree with me or not, I'm on the side that thinks War Mode has no place in Classic Plus. War Mode, to me, is terrible. It's the death of World PvP. Now, some of you in the comments are going to say, World PvP's dead anyway. It's absolutely not. This character is on Night Slayer. I do shitloads of World PvP everywhere that I go. Okay? I'm on Night Slayer, the PvP realm. I'm not on Dream Scythe, the PvE realm. And that leads me to my next point. The argument people are making is that War Mode would make it so that, like, PvP servers, there's no PvP and no PvE servers. Every server is just normal, and you'd have to enable War Mode in a major city and then go out in the world, and then you can participate in World PvP. Now, I personally think this would be the death of World PvP. The best part about being on a PvP server is that no matter which side of it you're on, the person doing the ganking or the person getting ganked, you made a choice when you created that character to be on a PvP server. You knew the risks you were taking, okay? And to have the option to toggle that on and off really, really breaks some serious immersion for people that actually have been playing this game for a long time and believe in the fact that PvP servers are the most fun. To me, they are. I think if they put War Mode in the game, I literally wouldn't even play the game. I think it would break it that much, and it would show me this direction that Classic Plus is headed in that I don't agree with and that I don't think would be good long term. Now, do I think that if they add War Mode that they'll have no players? Absolutely not. People are still going to play, and it'll probably be fine for the first 2 or 3 months, but I could almost guarantee you that once the honeymoon phase of the new content is gone and we're stuck in some kind of 3 or 4 month content patch that's getting boring and there's now no World PvP, people are going to grow to miss like the old ways of the PvP servers. They're going to grow to miss the old world, and you'll start seeing cries for vanilla fresh again because you fundamentally changed how the game was played. I personally don't see anything wrong with the fact that we have PvE and PvP servers. You can make the choice. If you want to play on a PvP server, you're making that choice. You're going to either be getting ganked or you're going to do the ganking. I think this is like fundamental to how Classic WoW works. And if they change that for Classic Plus, that shows me that Classic Plus is moving in a direction that no longer aligns with Classic WoW. So let me ask you guys this. If we get cross-server guilding, cross-server grouping for dungeons and raids, and War Mode, and a shitload of new content, new classes, all this stuff that literally changes the entire game. It's not Classic anymore. Why would we not be just playing retail at that point? Like, literally. Retail's not my cup of tea. I don't really enjoy it, but a lot of people do, and it's a game that people play. It's more popular than Classic. Why would you want to be playing Classic if you want all those things? They already exist in retail, bro. Go play retail if that's what you want. If we remove 99% of the friction from video games, you end up with a boring, non-unique, just generic experience that's not fun. Now, I'm not someone who's like, let's not get rid of, let's keep everything the way it was. I don't want any changes. Absolutely not true. I want all the new content. I think it should be a different game than vanilla, hands down. I think there should be new ways to level. Professions should be reworked. Sure, add some new classes, new race class combinations, new quests, new zones, new raids, new dungeons, whatever. I'm down with all of that stuff. But I'm not down with changing the game on a functional level, something that changes how the game is played, because the game, the way that it's played now, is beautiful. It really is. For the PvE player on PvE servers, they have what they want. For the PvP player on PvP servers, they have what they want. And I've had entire nights, even back in SOD where PvP kind of sucked towards the end, but even on Crusader Strike, on the PvP server, I had entire nights where like my whole stream, hours and hours of fun, was me doing world PvP content. Okay? And it's a part of this game that makes the world feel a little bit dangerous. There's always that risk of a level 60 rogue hiding, somewhere that's about to gank you when you're running into, Molten Core or BRD, whatever. Like, yes, there's downsides to PvP servers, but that's the point of it. If there was no downsides, there would be zero friction. Thus, you'd have a boring experience, which is why PvP servers are always flooded with more players than PvE servers. PvE servers tend to fall off faster than PvP servers. Statistically, since the beginning of time, that's how it's always been. And the reason for that is that the world PvP and the feeling of the world being dangerous all the time adds so much more to the immersion of playing this game. It adds more to the risk factor of being out in the world. You're going out mining or you're going out doing this, whatever. There's always that risk of world PvP, right? We see what happened in TBC when TBC came out back then and in Classic. These servers just go one-sided, or world PvP just completely dies because of flying mounts and things like that. So once you change that, once you change something that's a core piece of how this game operates, you can't go back. And I think that would be a really, really bad change. I don't think it aligns with what Classic is supposed to be. And this is supposed to be a Classic Plus or a Classic Reborn or a, World of Warcraft Classic 2, whatever it's going to be called. I think all the changes are amazing. I think it's all good stuff that we need to see in the game to pull in a new player base. We already have the no changes type of WoW. It exists. It's not going anywhere. We have that for the people that want that, but we need a ton of content. We need new stuff to do in the game, maybe new ways to level, whatever. But I don't think we change the game on a fundamental level, the way that the game is played. If they add cross-server guilds, cross-server grouping, war mode, no one's going to put war mode on, okay? And you could argue and say, oh yeah, but if you put war mode on, you'll get an experience boost and a reputation boost and a gold boost. Okay, that's still going down a path that doesn't feel like Classic WoW. It doesn't feel good, okay? We're talking about a player base that, that has been playing this game for so long. We need to bring new people in. I completely get that. But war mode, I think people would like the fact that this is a game that still feels like the world in the game is dangerous. No one is going to put war mode on, and if they do, now they're getting massive boosts to their XP, their rep, their gold, whatever it is, and that just doesn't feel Classic to me, right? Classic is no XP boost. Yeah, maybe they'll make the leveling a little more streamlined, a little bit faster to hit level 60. It's definitely a dated concept, but here's the thing, guys. Why change what's not broken? Why fix what's not broken? The devs back in the day struck gold with vanilla WoW. Yes, there's so many issues. Yes, a lot of it was just bad mistakes and bad coding that became part of how people play the game now. But that's the beauty of it, right? I think that there's this new wave of just everyone wants to remove all friction from video games, bro. All friction. They just want everything gone. They want it to be easy. Everyone gets the same thing. Everyone gets this. Everyone gets that. That doesn't belong in Classic Plus, in my opinion. Keep it unique, man. Keep it like Classic WoW. War mode is a big no-go for me. I've seen these talks going on the past couple of weeks. It's like a really, really hot topic. People are going off about how it should be in, how it shouldn't be in. How about you just go play on a PvE server? Why don't you want to go play on a PvE server? I don't understand. Why does war mode need to be in the game for everyone? Why do you need to change a core aspect of how this game operates that makes people love it? Why? Just go play on a PvE server. I think Classic Plus should launch with mega servers, 2 mega servers. That one is PvP, one is PvE. Blizzard already hit it out of the park with the 50-50 faction balance system. Okay, it's worked flawlessly pretty much in Season of Discovery and in Anniversary. This is the first time in recent history that we have PvP servers that are actually staying balanced right down the middle, 50-50 Horde and Alliance. It feels good. I'm actually excited to go into TBC on a 50-50 server, because from 2019, I was on Benediction when we moved, and I was on Faralina for Horde. These servers were PvP servers at heart. They started as PvP servers, but without the faction balancing system Blizzard puts in place, the servers tend to just go lopsided one way, right? Benediction was just 99% Alliance, Faralina 99% Horde, and that 1% of the other faction was just people that had second accounts and characters to like flip towers and Hellfire and all that kind of stuff. So I think that this system that Blizzard has implemented for the 50-50 faction balance really has worked. I think it's great. You know, Night Slayer, we're more than halfway through this cycle of Classic, of Vanilla on Night Slayer. And if you go in these high-level zones, there's still a shitload of World PvP, dude. There's a ton of World PvP going on. Because it's what makes Classic WoW fun. It adds danger to the world. It gives you something to do when you're bored. It's kind of make your own content type of game in terms of when you're just raid logging and stuff. There's more to do. And I think War Mode is just, it's a terrible, terrible, like, I don't like it. To me, it's a Care Bear policy. I don't like it. I don't think everyone should be cozy and comfy. I really don't. You could hate me for that all you want. That's what the PvE server is for. If that's how you want to play, there's nothing wrong with that, but that already exists for you. Don't change the way that myself and other people like to enjoy this game just to be on our server. Why do you want to be on our server? Play on the PvE server. Just go for it. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. I really need to voice my opinion on this because I feel like changing this really would put a bad taste in a lot of players' mouths. You guys forget how many people play this game for the world PvP, for the, you know, unbalanced vanilla PvP aspect of the game. That's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it fun. And I think changing core aspects of the game are just bad at this point. But I do want you guys to understand that most of the stuff on that survey, almost everything else, I'm like on board with, right? There's a lot of crazy stuff on there that would change the game, and I'm fine with that. I know the game needs to evolve and become something bigger and try and draw in a newer player base, because let's face it, Classic needs to make money for Blizzard. Otherwise, how do they justify doing this? You guys have to understand that. Classic, as it stands right now, is just a sub. It's just a sub. There's no cash shop. There's no nothing really. You can't, it doesn't make a fraction of the money that retail makes. You know, Classic, in my opinion, exists because of how much money retail pulls in. So for them to make a true Classic Plus with tons of development time and new content and all this stuff to be an ongoing project for years and years and years, Classic needs to make them money. Right? And whether they add a cash shop, the WoW token, whatever it is, we're not going to get into that with this video. That's a topic for another video. Whatever they add, it needs to generate some sort of income. And if they don't have that stuff, it needs to pull in new players, right? We need more people to be subscribing to World of Warcraft to give it a shot. You know, we saw how Phase 1 of Season of Discovery pulled in so many players. Dude, it pulled in ridiculous amounts of players. So it can be done. And that was just a seasonal server. A lot of people wrote that off just because it was seasonal. They didn't even want to try it because it was seasonal. So if they do it right, they can pull in a lot of new players into a Classic Plus or a Classic 2, whatever the hell they're going to call it. But I do think that it's really important to stay true to the core aspects of vanilla, like PvP and PvE servers. Just give us 2 big mega servers. Absolutely no war mode, absolutely no cross-server grouping, no cross-server raiding, no cross-server guilding. It kills the world and just makes it feel not good, right? And if you add that to the game and we end up getting like arenas and things like that, you guys got to understand that this will then turn into you're just sitting in a city queuing up for an instance PvP thing. There's no world PvP because why turn war mode on and go PvP? We're just going to sit in the city and queue arenas. At least if they add arenas and things like that, which I'm on board with, and PvP servers still exist and war mode's not a thing, you know everyone out in that world, in that level, you know, that contested zone is up for PvP. You can go fight them. You can get ganked. Like, it's just part of the game. I think it's one of the best parts of the game, and I think it's what makes vanilla WoW stand out amongst the rest of the versions of WoW. I don't think we should be going the direction of retail in terms of systems like that. And I know it's controversial, but I really want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments below, whether you agree with me or not. Like, this is an open discussion. I know everyone's entitled to play the game how they want, which is why I'm on the side of PvE servers and PvP servers. I think adding war mode completely takes away playing the game for people who enjoy PvP servers. Whereas right now, both sides of this fence have an option to enjoy the game how they want with PvE and PvP servers. Adding war mode takes one of those options away for the PvP players. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'm really curious. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, jump over to my Twitch, twitch.tv/hammerdance. We stream Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're pushing for partner this year, so seriously, I'll comment a link to my Twitch down below and I'll pin it to the top. Go give me a follow on there and come hang out. We are getting closer. We're about halfway there to pushing partner. So I appreciate everyone's support and everything, but you know, I just love this game, man. I'm a little bored right now, waiting for TBC and stuff, but I think we're in for a good ride when Classic Plus comes if they do it right. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching and listening in. I'll see you all in the next one.